All right, so it's your host, Isaiah Tyreke, the host of the World Changers podcast. I just wanted to do episode one of that podcast on video. I do have episode two of the podcast and video for YouTube coming soon, so you guys can see it. Just stay tuned for that, but I'm just going to redo the episode one of the World Changers podcast for you guys today. So, as we all know, those who did tune in and listen to the podcast, we was talking about depression and addictions. Basically raising mental health awareness to those who may not have the information or those who may not know anything about, the struggles people such as I and others deal with, who has mental illnesses. And then also about how it connects, how it connects to one another. So we're just gonna go ahead and get right into it. So when I think about depression, or we talk about a definition because I'm a definition guy. I'm just going to break down the definition of depression is feeling of severe despondency, and dejection, unhappiness, misery, sadness, and sorrow. So when you think about depression and you think about this definition, you begin to reflect and think a depressed mood is something that stays around for a long time. It's something that doesn't really let up. It changes the way a person feels about life, things, themselves, family. It could change any of your views, anything about people, anything about yourself, anything about your thoughts. You can be, when you're not going through that phase of depression, you can be the most positive person, the most impactful person, the most ambitious person. But once depression strikes, then it makes you seem like the most unworthy person, the most worthless person, the most unproductive person. It's going to make you feel like you hate yourself or you hate others or you just can't find joy in your life, in certain cases, depression. Everyone gets the blues sometime. Everybody gets sad sometimes. That's normal. That's not depression. You got to understand there's a difference between people who just get sad because of, because they may have lost somebody or something didn't work out in life as they planned for it to work out. Like I said, that's all life. That's just the blues. That's just people get sad. That's normal. Depression runs deeper than that, and it's a tough thing to battle, especially when you're alone. So for those of us who battle depression alone, it's a lonely, hard walk because a lot of the times we don't know how to get the help we need. We're going to talk about that a little bit, further down the line. I don't want to get ahead of myself. So it's very important for us to seek help or reach out to others when battling depression. It's also important for all your friends and families, your relative, your spouse, to become, educated with the mental illnesses that you may be, battling with. It's important that we see the signs and be or get the help necessary that person needs who's battling with depression. What I mean by that is basically it's important for those who are close to you in your circle, definitely family, definitely spouses, even your children, if you have children. It's important that we are educated well enough that we understand that depression is a real thing, that mental awareness has to be raised because when you're going through something, a lot of people may just look at you and think, this person isn't right, or they may possibly just be thinking, well, this person always got an attitude. I don't like this person. They seem to be negative all the time. They don't seem to be happy about anything. And there we would begin to label them and misjudge them and misview them and begin to think of them as a bad person rather than the person that they really is. This person can be the very nicest person in the world, the most loving person. But once that mental illness begins to affect their life, then you begin to see things deteriorate or you begin to see things change. So it's important that we all do our part and raise our mental awareness. It's important that we all, work hard to learn and educate ourselves so that way we can be there for those in need of our help and our assistance. So that way we won't label anybody or push them over the edge or push them further away from the progress that they have been making. Many people will assume that a victim of depression will ask for help themselves, but that's not the case in most situations. To be honest, when I had my deep episodes of depression and it was, affecting, my marriage when I was married, it was something that I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't want to ask for help. I didn't know how to. It's like it sounds contradicting, but in the same way, that's how depression does you. It's like I don't want to be judged. I don't want to ask for help. I just want to be alone. I want to be unbothered. I just want to, seem like this introvert. I don't want to be spoken to. I don't want to be touched. That's just how it makes you feel. And when I went to this counseling session, there was something that was said that kind of almost set me back mentally, but also with anger and holding grudges. It very upset me because you have to understand what a person's going through before you speak on it and judge them based off their actions. So when it came to me dealing with depression and the person said, "This is on you. This is your fault. You had every opportunity to ask for help and reach out to me." I extended, the offering for helps multiple times. Uh, at that moment, it didn't sit right with me. I felt the fire burning inside me, but I had to, try to maintain and contain myself. Because at that point, it's a person that you cared about, that you care about, and that you love, and you expect them to care about you and be there for you and not just push the bucket or pass the envelope and say it's your fault when they don't understand what it is you're going through. Uh, that is something that I don't want anybody else to go through because at that moment, that night would have been my last night on earth. That would have been a night I personally would have, killed myself. I personally would have committed suicide because I was already on edge already. And for me to get that type of energy or that type of treatment, it kind of bothered me and it kind of almost pushed me, closer to the edge. Um, what I say is awareness creates the ability to acknowledge the signs and symptoms and follow up on offering help and assistance. So when you have awareness, you are more capable of helping that person. You're more capable of identifying what that person's going through. That person may not be able to tell you exactly what they're going through. They may, but they may not want to. Let me put it in that word. They may not want to tell you exactly what they're going through, but if you're able to educate yourself and pay attention to the signs and symptoms, then you're able to get a step up and be able to open up a line of communication and understanding, empathize with that person and understand that person. And from there, you're able to help change or save a life because now you guys are basically on the same page of understanding. Now that you understand and you're called that thing out that they're battling with, then they're going to be more likely open to talk to you about it. Um, Personal experience once again, when it came to me, I know personally when one of my brothers came up to me and was talking about how he battled with depression and suicidal thoughts and things of that nature. um it made me open up. It's now I say we have a relationship because we relate. We understand each other. We understand the signs and symptoms. We both have the experience of what we're going through. So that opened up a door. So his awareness and his experience opened up a door for me to be a person who I can kind of vent to finally and speak instead of holding it in for all these years. Um, it's very important, as I said, for spouses too, because a lot of the times if one of them battle with depression and the other one don't know the symptoms or the awareness, they automatically gonna think, this person's unhappy with the marriage, this person is unhappy with the relationship, this person don't want to be with me anymore, this person don't love me, this person don't want me around them, don't want me to talk to them. They're gonna begin to assume and make assumptions, and based off the assumptions, they're gonna begin to act and probably switch. Some people will begin to switch their treatment of how they treat you. They're gonna start treating you different. Um, Not understanding, and that's why I say awareness is very important because that can save people's lives. That can save people marriages. That can save people relationships. That can save, you know, spouses, cousins, daughters, kids. I mean, it can save so much. It can change so much. Um, so I want to provide a few symptoms and signs of depression. Persistent, sad, anxious, or empty mood. You feel empty inside. Sleeping too little. In some people's cases, they sleep too much. For me, I was a person who slept too little. Constantly had thoughts on my mind, constantly, you know, just was unsettled. And I found myself sleeping 2, 3 hours a night. Um, Sometimes I found myself staying up for 24 hours and couldn't sleep. And it was kind of frustrated about it. You have some people who have reduced appetite. The depression just the mood hit them so hard that they just can't function or want to eat. You have people who have an increased appetite. Those are the people who basically eat as a substitute to help themselves feel better about themselves or the situation. Um, so with the reduced appetite, of course, you may experience weight loss. With the increased appetite, of course, you may experience weight gain because anytime a situation uh, goes on, your coping mechanism or your coping tool will be to go to food to eat. The loss of interest or lack of pleasure in activities once enjoyed, including sex. So, with me, I really, really experienced that. It was like a lack of enjoyment in life, a lack of enjoyment in nature. I like those things, but it was like a lack of enjoyment. It was like a lot of the times I just wanted to sit around the house. I don't want to do anything. I hate them all. I hate this. I don't want to do this. I don't feel like doing this. I don't want to go here. I don't really want to have fun because I know my mind was stuck in a place that caused me to think this way. It caused me to almost seem like a negative person, but I'm not a negative person. A lot of people who know me know I'm a very positive, motivational, inspirational person. And that's why I'm doing a podcast now to help other people. Um, but that's what it made me feel. Also, sex. I mean, I was never in the mood to have sex because of the fact that I was so depressed and so down that I had this mental fog and cloud over my mind. I didn't like where I was in life. I didn't like myself. I didn't even know if I loved the person I was with just because the depression was so heavy on my mind that it began to cause me to sink and not even want to develop any type of physical relationship, sexually speaking, to my spouse at the time. Um, so that was something that depression caused me to do, which deprived somebody else's needs that was in sync or connected to me at the time. Um, Persistent physical symptoms that doesn't respond to treatment such as headaches, chronic pain, constipation, and difficulty concentrating. Fatigue, loss of energy, lack of concentration and remembering or decision making. Sometimes you can get blank spots in your memory. I mean, depression causes you to be in such a slump sometimes that you forget some of the simplest things that you would remember on a good day. Um, so that's something a lot of people deal with as well. Concentration is definitely a challenging factor of depression. You feel guilty, you feel hopeless, you feel worthless. Of course, thoughts of death and suicide. And another one a lot of people go through that some people really don't speak on because a lot of people just think addiction is just addiction. I do cocaine or I pop a pill and I get addicted. No, depression can be a root cause of an addiction, no matter the drug. Why? Because you become dependent on a substance to find a temporary peace or comfort of happiness. So that right there creates the bridge to it creates the bridge to addictions, from depression to addictions, from mental illnesses to addictions. But I'm not going to get on that right now. We're just going to go straight and keep talking about depression. Um, there are many forms of depression, and each one has a different cause or reason. There's even seasonal depression, if you didn't know about that. There could be situations such as, a person may have died around Christmas time or Thanksgiving, that every year you begin to go into the slump of depression. It can be, oh, I don't have enough money or, groceries or anything to do anything on Thanksgiving or to buy people gifts on Christmas or even on their birthday. And that becomes a seasonal thing that, you battle with. So here's some ways depression can be caused. Biological. There's too little or too many of a certain brain chemical. So having too little or too much of this one brain chemical can cause a biological reaction, a biological depression. Then you have cognitive, negative thinking, low self-esteem. You have gender. They say women are nearly twice more susceptible to depression than men. Studies haven't figured that out yet. Some are gearing it towards, that women are emotional creatures and they're emotional beings, shall I say, and that women tend to, go through their cycle, and which makes them more emotional and they experience more ups and downs. So you may stack on a couple of other, you know, things that may trigger depression during those times is, having just bad experiences around those times when you're already emotionally an emotional person. You got medications that may be a symptom or a side effect, or if you got a certain medication that you take, it may be that depression is just a part of that medication. You got genetics. You have situational, so difficult situations, life events, divorces, finances, death of loved ones, and etc. So those are some of the things that can be caused by depression. That can cause depression. I'm sorry. That can cause depression. So if you desire to, of course, build more awareness and obtain more knowledge of the subject that we're talking about today, mental health awareness, you can always call the National Institute of Mental Health at 866-615-6464. Once again, 866-615-6464. And that's the National Institute of Mental Health. And they will be glad to either email you some information, answer any questions on the phone, whatever information you want to know about any type of mental health awareness, then, give them a call. Get informed. It's important, and it's our job and our duty as people, but also as loved ones, as fathers, as mothers, as brothers and sisters, uncles and nieces and cousins, to basically be aware of the situation. That way we can support our loved ones rather than lose them, because we are losing too many people to depression and suicide and addictions. And this is when we have to educate ourselves and begin to be the change in other people's lives, begin to be the help in other people's lives, begin to be the support in other people's lives. There's too many people who walk through life and only reflect and care about themselves and what their selves is going through mentally, when you have a key or a tool inside of you, or the wisdom inside of you, to help the next person. And it's important that we be people who help other people. Don't take it for granted. Don't take life for granted. And if you have the ability to help, or you have the ability and the capacity to learn and grow in an area, why not? Why not help the next person who's struggling? Now, if you battle with depression like I do, please seek help. I understand, as I said, it was so hard for me. I didn't seek help. I had to let other people kind of call it out or see things. Thank God for their mental awareness. But it's important that you seek help. Talk to someone you can trust and depend on. People who's not gonna, just talk bad about you or spread your information like wildfire, but people who's actually gonna stand by your side and hold you up when you're down and give you the push and motivate you and positively impact your life. Those are the people you want to be around. The people who are there to help, not the people who's there for information. Never fight this battle alone and isolate yourself from others, because this can open up a door to suicidal thoughts and attempts on taking your own life. I've been there before several times, even sixth grade. I want to say I was in middle school, my first time ever trying to kill myself. I'm in the kitchen. It's early morning, everybody's asleep. My mother, my two older brothers, my little sister, and I just picks up a knife and I just wanted to, take a jab, and wish that I died. But, I think, the type of thinker I was, and I still am, like, I kind of overanalyze, or I analyze things. It could be a gift, it could be a curse sometimes, but I just broke down to the point. It's like, man, what if I survive and I somehow gotta live, peeing in the bag, or without a kidney, or some crazy stuff like that, and that prevented me, even at a young age, from try to commit suicide. I mean, I had several other attempts throughout my life. However, the moral of this story is, do not deal with it alone. Do not isolate yourself, because when you isolate yourself, then it begins to open up a door to other things that you don't want to struggle with or face. So many people have not succeeded against this battle. So some people have. You are the blessed ones, and the ones who have experienced this type of situation and overcame it It's time for us to raise up and raise awareness for other people. It's time for us to do something so great in the lives of other people that we can change their lives with just a word, that we can change their lives with just empathizing with them, connecting with them, letting them know we've been there. That we can become big brothers and big sisters to those people who are currently in and stuck in the situation. We can help them make it out, be the guidance, be the support, be the light to those people. I mean, talking to others and counseling helps a lot. The healing process may seem slow to some people, it may seem overwhelming, or like it just isn't working. But over time, you will experience the benefits of it all. All it takes is patience. A lot of time we go through a healing process. We be like, okay, oh, it's not working. I'm not feeling change. Matter of fact, I feel worse than I did when I started off. Why you may feel worse? Because at the same time, when you're speaking to other people and you're in counseling or, therapy, basically we're trying to get to the root cause of the very thing that may have caused this depression. When you can identify the thing that may have caused depression in your life, then you can fix it and you can try to reverse it. If you have not identified the root cause, whether it be a situation, a person, an event in life, then if you didn't identify it, it's always going to be there, and you're always going to battle with this thing that is weighing on you so heavily. So it's important that when we do talk to people, make sure it's people that's going to help you identify the root cause. And when you identify the root cause, now it's like, okay, now I identify the root cause. Now I'm feeling that new hurt all over again, as if it's something new again. But at the same time, I exposed that very thing that's been living inside of me, that's been making me feel this way. Now that I know the root cause, I have acknowledged it. I'm able to attack it head on and fix it. And once I fix it, I'm going to begin to see clearer days and brighter days. So that's why it's important to speak to other people and also be patient along the process, because it's working. It's kind of like a plant. When you plant a flower or a plant, you plant that seed, you're not going to see the progress on the surface level, but there is progress under the soil. And that's the roots growing deeper and deeper to build into the foundation, so that way when it begins to blossom, it is strong. It's the same thing with us. We have things inside of our heart that is rooted inside of our heart, and we have to take out the weeds and remove it out of our hearts and out of our lives, and then plant good things in. And when we plant those good things in, it's a process. It takes time. We have to cultivate it. We have to water it. With knowledge, we have to, acknowledge. We have to build it and make sure it's in the, well grounded in the foundation. As it begins to grow and blossom, then we become a person who's healed, or we become a person who's an overcomer or victorious. Every last person who's listening to the podcast, you have the power to overcome whatever it is you're facing. You may seem down right now, but at the end of the day, you have the power to overcome this situation. You are the controller of your mind. You are the controller of your destiny. One thing I was reading about a book is, out of a book about the brain, is a lot of the times we let our mind think for us rather than we work and control our mind and our thoughts. We let our thoughts control our impulses and what we do. And that's the wrong thing to do, because we are the human. We are the person who, our soul powers the body, but we are people who controls our body. If I want my hand to be raised, I'm going to raise my hand. If I want one finger to be raised, I'm going to raise that finger. If I wanted to point, I'm going to point the finger. However, what I'm saying is, when it comes to your mind, you cannot allow your mind to control your body, how you talk, and how you think. I know it's hard when you're in that depression stage, but at the same time, we got to understand our mind is working for us. We are not working for our mind. So it's important that we begin to flip a switch and begin to change that and counteract that with positive thinking and positive reinforcements and just being a positive individual. We're conquering the things that we battle with changing the way we think instead of letting our thoughts change the way we act. So I'm saying you're more capable of overcoming anything you're battling with if you just change your perspective, if you change your mind, if you begin to sit around people who's going to cultivate positive growth, if you're going to begin to read and indulge in things that's going to cultivate positive growth. So if you're watching this podcast, I hope that you just take these keys and the information that I'm giving you and use it. It's been a while since I had a depressed experience or a phase. I want to say the last one was in October. It was just a bad, gloomy day, but it's been a while. And what I've learned is that me allowing other people to enter my life and hear what I was going through began to help me change and grow. It began to let me vent. It began to let me experience, what it really is, the things that really was keeping me at this point. It also allowed me to not only do that, but it also allowed me to grow past where I was. It allowed me to, search myself and figure out the things I need to work on and remove myself. It allowed me to realize that I can no longer allow my mind to control me. Uh, so it was a battle, years and years, but now, I can finally say I believe I overcame a lot of it. I'm not saying, I'm perfect. I'm not saying, there's no telling if I'll have other days. However, what I'm saying now is it's been a couple of months, and I'm saying this as a motivation to you that you can do the same thing. You're more capable. Stop thinking of yourself as weak. Stop thinking of yourself as the labels other people called you. Stop thinking of yourself as crazy. Uh, don't. Sometimes you can't even listen to doctors because some doctors give you negative diagnosis and negative advice. To be honest, but it's just important that you build yourself up, that you begin to be confident in who you are, your decision making, and your thoughts, and things of that nature. It's very important. So we're just gonna go ahead and move on to addictions, because as I said, when you battle with depression, sometimes it can lead you to rely on something to cope with pain or to, you know, surpass the pain temporarily that you're feeling. So some people goes to drugs. So when you think of the word addiction, is compulsive, chronic, sociological, or psychological need for a habit forming substance. Most people should know that all addictions isn't birthed through just taking a drug and becoming an addict, or being born uh, into a family that was crack parents, or things like that. That's not always the cause. Some addictions are caused by internal pain and dependency of a substance to numb and hide hurt and pain, to help with a mental illness such as depression and whatever other mental illness that you may be battling with. This can be ranged from any form of medication, drug, or alcoholic drinks that causes happiness and releases of euphoria in your mind. I know with me, my biggest thing, I did, smoke weed 24/7. Back then, I did do a little pill popping, but my thing really was drinking. My addiction to this particular to a particular drug was alcohol. Um, I will drink all day, 24/7, just to feel happy, to feel like this was my true being, to feel like I had to drink to be myself. Um, it worked, you know, but all it was putting a band-aid on a gun wound. I mean, when it's all said and done, the band-aid fall off, you know, I'm gonna bleed more, and I'm just gonna need some type of medical, assistance. I may slap on another band-aid. That's what I did every time I drunk. Slap on another band-aid. I'm gonna drink, and I'm just gonna keep on, moving and trucking and being happy, and using this substance to mask my pain, to hide my pain. It's important that we don't mask our pain. It's important that we, you know, just be raw, be real. Just if you feel a certain way, speak on how you feel. Why? Because you never know that that person you may be speaking about how you feel may have a key to unlock a door of freedom in your life. Um, but yeah, I was just overindulging on alcoholic drinks. I'm thinking it was good for me, but it was affecting my body in negative ways. But for my mind, it felt like, this euphoria felt. I felt so good. I felt at peace. I wasn't thinking about bad times. I was only thinking about good times, going out, partying, clubbing, promoting, doing whatever I wanted to do. It seemed like a great thing to do, even when I was rapping all the time in the studio or rapping with friends. I mean, drinking was something that just helped me go, because I wasn't rapping about bad times. I was able to actually, rap about good things and good times and positivity. It seems backwards, but like I said, it releases a euphoria in your mind, and it's like, man, I'm in a place of peace, freedom, man. I need this. You begin to think that you need that substance when you really don't need it, and when you become dependent upon something and you don't get it, then in that sober stage, things can get worse than it was before. So that's something you got to watch. You got to do that with a caution label. You got to understand this is something we should not do. But if you're in the midst of battling addiction because of a mental issue, a mental awareness or depression, then it's important that we also ingest knowledge and wisdom of the very thing that we're doing and how it's negatively impacting us. So that way, that can override how we think is positively impacting us. By no means your healing isn't in something that is more damaging to your mind, body, spirit, and soul. So it's important that we understand that addictions is not the way to deal with pain. It's just a temporary fix because once you're sober again, you're back at square one. And as you continue to indulge in addictions, as I said, it begins to tear your body down in many different ways possible. I mean, you got things like kidneys, livers. I mean, even your brain. Your brain begins to depend on this substance, or your brain begins to react to the substance in negative ways. And it's important that we not inflict ourselves with much more pain and chaos and struggle in our life than we already dealing with. This is not the way to get over depression. This is not the way to get over any a mental illness. Um, it projects a false and temporary feeling of happiness that make you think you bypass the hurt and the pain only until, like I said, you're sober again. This is where an issue and struggle arise for many people. The euphoria feels so good. It's like, it makes you want to be more attracted to these things. It makes you want to keep doing it just because the euphoria feels great. But at the end of the day, that's not who that's not how God designed us to be. God didn't design us to rely on a substance to be happy, but he gave us willpower, strength, courage, boldness. He gave us a sound mind and wisdom and intelligence you know, to correct the things in our lives that we need to correct, to work on the things in our lives that we need to work on. There is no benefit to uh, there's no benefit to form addictive habits since they don't, create a permanent solution. That's just facts. You cannot rely on something that is addicting forming if it doesn't create a solution. It's just going to create more problems. Like I said, substance abuse and addictions can make things worse, depending on the way the individual's mind reacts to the substance. Some substances make you way more sorrowful, depressed, and suicidal than just dealing with your pain soberly and speaking to other people. So it's important for us as friends and family to monitor behavior of those around us who need help. Do not be one of those friends, and I'm gonna say friends because I don't believe these people are real friends, that know a friend is dealing with depression and addictions, and I'm gonna feud their addictions. I'm gonna begin to give them the drug, the very thing that may be killing them physically, and later on down the road hurting them mentally. I'm just going to continue to give them, and they begin to overindulge, and the next thing you know, this friend begins to deteriorate. His life begin, or her life begin to deteriorate. Or they pass away, and I feel like the blame will be on me because I was a contributing factor to supporting something that shouldn't been supported anyway. That's not supporting a friend just because a friend is telling you to get them. I don't care if they get mad or upset with you and don't talk to you ever again. As a good friend, you're going to be a positive person in every way, shape, form to your friend. You're going to make sure your friend is in good standing. You're going to be the one that's going to tell them, no, I'm not going to support this habit, but I'm going to support you in another way. I can support you, physically. I can support you mentally. I can support you, what spreading the knowledge I have with the very thing you may be battling with, or being one who's going to get you help. So it's important that we monitor our friends' behavior, and also, like I said, we handle it in the right way and not the wrong way. Never, like I said, support, a person abusing substance. I've seen too many people give people the very drug that's killing this person or making them addicted, or even making their conditions worse. That's something we should not do. Doctors are famous for doing that. They get a lot of people hooked as well, and they subscribe a drug for that drug that cause you to have problems to make you want to take more drugs. Backwards world we live in. But the importance is raising awareness and knowledge about it, discovering the root cause, working on the internal problem, working on your mind to be one to be the controller of your mind and not your mind be the controller of you. It's important that we begin to change our perspective and our thoughts with that to become, people who are well put together, people who are overcomers, people who are victorious. That's the way to go. Not to rely on drugs. I'm just tired of seeing so many young people die to addictions, depression, suicide, and substance abuse. Um, God rest the soul for the many friends I have lost to these things. And, I pray for God's strength on the people who are currently going through this. Um, as people, we have a issue when it comes to seeing some people go through situations. We begin to look at them and we watch silently and become critics from afar rather than help to closely to people. We begin to see people, for example, get shot and stuff. We pull out a phone and record. Like, is it to go viral? Is it self satisfying? Like, where have we gone as people in society? I think it's time to change this and get rid of distractions and become people of love, people of unity, people who has a desire to help and lead other people. Don't stand by silently in support and just watch. But it's time for you to intervene and speak up and step out and help those people. So they won't feel alone, so they won't feel misplaced, they won't feel judged, but yet you come into their life and you affect them in such a positive way that they begin to see a change in their life and a change in how they think, a change in how they talk, a change in how they treat people. Never judge a person by what you see afar, but speak to that person and see what's in their heart. And if you are aware of signs and symptoms and you can acknowledge the symptom, then speak to that person based off of where they at. And if you have the knowledge and experience, then you can speak from to speak to that person from where you once was at, and you can help shed light on how to get to this point. Yes, one formula doesn't fit all. When I say that, what I'm saying is how you overcame something may not be the very thing that helps this person overcome, but at the same time, how you overcame stuff still has a lot of wisdom and a lot of know-how that will help other people get to know how to overcome for themselves as well. Um, Once again, this is the mental health awareness episode one on my podcast, World Changers Podcast. If you don't have the World Changers Podcast, you can download Anchor, Spotify, type in World Changers Podcast. And follow us. Give us a follow. As I said, we do have episode one already on the podcast. I just wanted to do the live stream because we're going to be doing live streams for the podcast at the same time we're doing the podcast. And episode two is in the works and it's on the way. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, it's your host, Isaiah Tyreke. You may also know me as the Izzy E, the Izzy Effect. But I thank you guys for tuning in and watching, and I hope I was able to help somebody. I hope I was able to motivate somebody for change. I hope I was able to motivate somebody to be more aware of what's going on in the world. Peace out. One love.